Hey Sherpas, it's Greg, and this morning I want to talk about how we as people leading others, guests on this climb of connecting to God and to our churches, how we can help them actually land in meaningful volunteer positions. Recently, several staff at our church have asked me, hey, how can we increase the percentage of volunteers that we actually place in a volunteer position after we have some big kind of volunteer recruitment? We keep track of the percentage of volunteers that we place by department here at Eastside. And so when they asked that question, I just wanted to come back with some video that I thought maybe all of the people who follow Climbing the Himalayas could benefit from. So here are 4 ideas that I think will actually increase the percentage of volunteers we place after a volunteer recruitment. Number 1, increase the speed of your follow-up. The percentage of placement grows with the speed of your follow-up. That's for sure. You know, think about the average person who signs up to volunteer for the first time. It's a new thing. Some of them may be excited. Some of them may be intimidated. But they sign up at church. They're completely moved and motivated. They could see themselves doing it. Then they go home and they clean up after their kids and they plan for their week and they balance their checkbook and do whatever else that they have on their responsibility list, and then wake up on Monday morning and most of them go to work. And they do it again on Tuesday. They do it again on Wednesday, where we are going back to the church office and we're still staying in the volunteer zone and excited about placing them when they've moved on. Okay, so what's the solution to that? It's just a truth, it's a principle that the quicker you can follow up after they've made that choice to sign up, the higher percentage of people you're going to place. It's just that simple. And here at Eastside, it's the kind of thing where our volunteer champs actually respond to them. There's a thank you on the same day for signing up, and then within 48 hours, they get some job description with qualifications and an invitation to dialogue further on that. So the closer you can get to their sign-up point where you're actually responding to them and following up on them, the better it will be. And volunteer staff, what that means is, at least at Eastside, when your volunteer champ hands you a name to follow up on, you respond as immediately as you can, within 24 hours for sure. The more you do that and the quicker you do that, the higher percentage of volunteers you'll see placed. Number 2, instead of just inviting them to say yes or no or answer questions on an email, at some point in the process, early on, invite them to coffee at your church's cafe or to coffee in your office or maybe during a service or after a service or before a service, just to kind of get to know them better, interview them, answer their questions. If you don't have time to do that with everybody, do it with a group of them there. They get to meet each other. What other kind of people are signing up for this role? Help them invite some other team members there so that they see that this is something that people enjoy and do often. And inviting them into something personal like that, usually over coffee, instead of just responding to emails for the entire process or even a phone call or a voicemail. This really adds some stickiness to the onboarding process, and I believe ultimately even prevents attrition. Number 3, invite them to become a part of a team or even a serving small group rather than just a rotation of service. So what I mean by that is a lot of times we just invite people to serve on a rotation. Here's when you show up. Here's how often you show up. And we schedule them that way and invite them into that experience. Well, what if we onboarded them in a way that they meet their team, kind of amping on that coffee idea? They meet their team and they see that it's a team, and maybe even a step beyond that. At Eastside, a certain serving team can actually be considered a small group if they share prayer requests or have a devotion or if they support each other in any spiritual way. And for some people, this can replace the more conventional notion of a small group just because they're serving with these people regularly. Those people know how they're doing and support them. And when something happens in their life, they'll call somebody on their team before they would necessarily somebody from a small group. So inviting them to be part of a team or a small group that serves, even beyond just a rotation, really will add will increase the percentage of volunteers placed after your signups. Lastly, in number 4, this one's awesome. Use unplaced people from your last sign-up or volunteer recruitment for a one-off opportunity in the future. I recently had this illustrated so beautifully by our young adult pastor, Charles Stoicu. What he did is he saved those people who may have signed up and served and maybe not been placed. And along with everybody else, when he needed for his fall kickoff a lot of table leads, what he did is he sent an email out to them saying, hey, I know you were interested in serving this way. Well, we're going to have a huge kickoff and need some extra volunteers to lead tables and other things. If you're interested, would you click here, fill out the form, and the job description is attached to the form. We hope to see you there. And it was kind of imminent. It was a sweet need. It was a one-off, so it wasn't be asking for forever. But I love that idea. And of course, Eastside Connect can do that very well. You Eastside staff, I'm going to send you, Charles, an example of what he sent out. And any of you from other churches, if you'd like to request that from me, I'll send it to you too. But what I think is beautiful about that is not just a one-off experience, but having a well-designed follow-up plan when that experience is done. That asks them questions like, how was it for you? Did you enjoy it? Thank you so much for serving. I can't believe you did that. And maybe an opportunity to become a more regular part of that team afterwards. I think you'll end up placing more people by inviting people that weren't able to jump in for whatever reason the first time they signed up into a one-off. These one-offs can be your Christmas services, a special outreach, a buzz event, your fall kickoff. Whatever it is, look at those as an excuse to go back and re-engage with people who signed up to volunteer but who never got placed. And I think what will happen is you will see that percentage of placed volunteers grow each time you do it. I hope these ideas help. If you have any questions or comments and road test some and want to share how they go, please let me know. gcurtis@eastside.com.